Good morning, world. Ooh. Yeah, it's weird. Most of my cold cleared up, but the old bronchies. Well, we're off to a very interesting start to the day, personally. So, that got me thinking though. Oh man, thank God for the internet. You know what? I know there's a lot of great therapists out there, but there's also a lot of people who've been doing the work that are brilliant, that also have lived experience that, to be honest, are worth more than the $250 an hour therapist that you could spend 10 years talking to. Anyway, there's this woman on Instagram that I follow, brilliant activist, I believe out of Paris. I'm gonna try to remember to go, I'm terrible with names, go link her name so that if you wanted to, you could go check out her Instagram. She's so fucking fascinating. I love her. Anyway, just like how my mind was blown when that one person was like, you can't be obsessed with someone who's available. Well, yesterday, this woman said that basically, if you're an avoidant person, like avoidance and avoidant type people, there's a connection between avoidance and financial poverty. Like, if you have problem with money, there's probably a high probability there might be some avoidance within you. And so she just had a really interesting way of talking about it, and I was like, that checks. And if I'm to be honest, I think we all, just like with, like conflict avoidance, we all have areas in our lives that we're conflict avoidant. I don't think anyone's really, even if you've mastered it, I feel like there's always somewhere out in the world and within type of relationships or something that there might be an area where you're like a whisker conflict avoidant. So that's why it can be tricky, because if you just happen to look at the area where you're not conflict avoidant, or you have a healthy sense of conflict in that area, you might be overlooking an area where there is conflict avoidance. Now, I will say this. I definitely have conflict avoidance in areas of my life, for sure. And I will definitely speak to my mental health, since dealing with an MPD ex that I'm trying to co-parent with, who keeps me in court endlessly and plays out every worst fear. Debilitating PTSD and depression has definitely put me into paralysis and conflict avoidance, especially this last year, where, after, I don't know, everything with my mom, like it's just crescendoed. And if I'm to be honest, so I thought that'd be a great theme to start off on, is like, how can we, I don't know, I want to pull cards on conflict avoidance and how that ties into our money. Basically, she was saying that when you're conflict avoidant, it's not that you've run away from it forever. It's like it's collecting debt. When you've avoided something, it's not gone away completely. It's just you've pushed it to the side. It's like an overdraft, but there's interest. There's a debt that needs to be paid with interest. But because it's in the form of humans, part of that debt is people get pissed off, people don't trust you, people, like, there's a domino effect. Anyway, and if I'm to be honest, I love making lists. I love making lists of all the things that I can do in a day that support all of the growth, physical, spiritual, mental, emotional. And just like how I've talked about the 12 steps, like doing a step 4, taking an inventory of self, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful. Yeah, so I don't know. I've just been personally doing a lot of reflecting. I've had that hermit lantern flashlight, I've definitely found some new rooms that I didn't know were there, peeked in, was like, ooh, okay. But good to know. You want to know what's there. Anyway, yeah, I personally rather get off on epiphanies and be like, whoa, shit, didn't know that about myself, than be like surprised by not knowing and having all these consequences. And I'm so grateful that people do the work and are always critically thinking and analyzing and looking at self and putting things together and learning more and exploring more, so that, I don't know, these things, and to share on social media. Like, these platforms are so interesting because in some ways all these things are terrible and I try to avoid them, other than YouTube, but even YouTube can be a hole. But there's also so much good shit out there. Yeah. Okay, let's pull some cards. Oh god. Okay, well, I think this is the deck for conflict avoidance and poverty. I don't know, we'll see. Doop-a-doop. Oh god, I didn't have those in the light series this whole time. Jesus. Okay, well, it's good to know. Oh, look at that. I used a deck that I don't use as much, and I realized that 3 of my cards that go to the other deck, see, this is what happens when we look around and use things. Okay, that's good. Oh, well, we're back to Rain Town. Wow, this life is interesting. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I don't really have words, which is kind of, to be honest, more frightening for a Gemini to say that. When a Gemini says that there's really, or if a Gemini just says, okay, like big shit's going down, and a Gemini just says, okay, get nervous. Moving on was upside down. So someone's not moving on. Okay, I'm gonna leave it like that, just because, again, I don't get a lot of reversals. But anyway, I see the Emperor. Uh-oh. An Emperor's not moving on. An Emperor's not leaving. This is the 6 of Swords. Okay, well, what else is new? An Emperor doesn't want to move on. Right. Okay. God, Jesus, Grandma, Buddha, Archangels, all Ascended Masters, all of my spirit guides, my spirit team, my guardian angels, the collective spiritual team. It's weird. I was going to say, today feels heavy, but not. I think today feels like the type of day where it lights a fire under your ass. Okay, so God, you see the theme. Grandma, oh grandma, today's the kind of day I think a lot of people could use a really loving grandma. So grandma, Oh, wow. Oh, some wax on here. Wax on, wax off. Oh yeah, wax on, wax off. He was training, remember? And he didn't understand the point. He thought his master was just giving him some bullshit, as a teenager would think, or even just an adult. Everyone's got tood. So there's something about the everyday that is training you for bigger things, unbeknownst for you. Which is part of that conflict avoidance. Learning how to do... Positive movement forward. Movement, choices, decisions. Interesting. The two movement cards. Like, the first word is literally, well, movement and movement. 8 plus 2 does equal 10, which would be the sun. Something that feels kind of caca is going to be something that leads to positive movement forward and, like, choices, decisions. Yeah, there's a choice and decision here to, like, again, put a fire under your ass and make positive changes. Guys, I am literally in this boat with you today, okay? This is Scourge. Everybody get in. I'm the driver right now. I'm in this boat. I'm driving that boat right now. I really, I don't know. I just know I'm in this boat. That's all I know. I'm in the boat. Third eye chakra. Okay. Okay, guys, what do we have to say about this? Conflict avoidance, the poverty, all the things right now. Throat chakra. Okay. So we're taking down what we see up here so we can speak it. Transformation. Okay, hold on. I actually want to shuffle. Okay, okay, it's gone. What's next? It's conflict avoidance. Oh, it is the upside one. Not moving forward. Wow. And it came up upside down. Okay. Wow, and this power is going under, it's under the 8, which was the positive movement forward, the throat chakra. Okay, so we have 2 8s, 2 6s. So we have partnerships. No, that was too many. I just want one. Okay, whoa, that flew out. Balance, and it's an angel, and it's 11. Okay. Oh my god, this whole time I thought he had a big wound. He had a big wound on his chest. I just scraped some off. It looked like he had a big sore. But you know what? Look, healed. Look, I just healed him. Turns out it was probably just chocolate. The wound is gone. I've just healed him. Healing hands of Christ. Right here. You just saw it. Okay. Okay, last card got. Rejoice in celebration. Wonderful. Okay. Uno momente. I have to put this on hold. Okay. I'm back. Just taking a little peek-sees here. So we have positive movement forward to movement, choices, decisions, third eye chakra, throat chakra, moving on in reverse, new beginnings, which is the Fool, power, which is strength, and I believe this is temperance, balance, and rejoice in celebration. Okay, so it's like looking good, but right in the middle, So the center of the issue is this not moving, yeah, being afraid, because normally the Six of Swords is the boat, right? You see the person in the boat leaving. So the crux, the center of this conflict avoidance. Yeah, and this is the weird one where I'm like, I don't know what he's holding. Is that like a huge, long spoon that he somehow like softened with his mind? It's like some weird drippy spoon, which drives me crazy. I hate the spoon in his hand. I hate it. Because I was like, what is the purpose of this? What does it have to do with the Six of Swords? It's just long. Like, if it was a regular size spoon, but I'm like, and he's holding it at the very, yeah, there's something about the spoon that's driving me nuts. Okay. Well, the thing that I'm noticing the most is that really every card except these two have rings of light. Well, no, that's not true. Okay, there's a bunch of orbs, so I guess those are rings of light. Okay, the only one that doesn't is really strength here. Everything else has some kind of glow, like the glow here, like concentric glowing rings. Now, we don't have glowing rings here, but it is, like, you know what I mean? And yeah, even with moving on, there's this like light and glowing. Hey, on the last one, 8 plus 3 does equal 11. And that 6 plus 5 equals 11. The 6 plus 2 equals 8, which is beside it. Okay. And then 8 plus 8 is 16, plus 5 is 21, which is 3, which is 3. It all adds up. Okay, so something... When you take the time to go within and to receive, to see and receive information from your third eye, allows you to communicate the truth. Okay, hold on, we gotta pull some clarifiers. Use this little deck. Where's my little witchy deck? I think it's in my bag. Okay, so God, here, let's do a little shuffle. Okay, so God, Jesus, Grandma, Buddha, Archangel, can you tell me about this Eight of... Would that be the Eight of Cups? Positive movement forward? Well, whatever this card is that I'm looking at, I believe it's the Eight of Cups. The Seven of Coins. Well, for most people, it takes a lot of time to make positive movement forward. Especially the Eight of Cups, it's about leaving something that isn't working. Oh. How interesting. I've just noticed on this Seven of Coins, it's 3 arrows with a clock. So yeah, something to take time, but with the 3 arrows there, it's making me think of the 3 of Swords. And with that 8 of Cups, yeah, it's really painful. Ah, yes, conflict avoidance. Basically, you're just wanting to avoid feeling uncomfortable, which is sometimes pain, right? Having those conversations. Like, if we want it to be real, I mean, it felt more complicated in the moment, but it took me 3 years of crying before, like, before I knew how terrible my son's mom's behavior was about to become, her pathology. um, I knew the whole time, like, basically every year of our relationship, I tried to break up with her and tried to leave. And then halfway into the relationship, um, yeah, I just knew. I just knew that there was something off in the relationship. I knew I wasn't happy, but I'm old school, and this is the person I'd asked to marry me, and we had a child on the way, and on paper everything looked okay, but like spiritually, emotionally, all the things, it was just like I was just dead inside. This relationship was killing me. And for 3 years I fought the universe, because I was just like, I want this to work. I wanted it to work. I wanted somehow spirit to make it work, opposed to getting the information that spirit was literally telling me. Spirit was actually the one to be like, no. And I was like, fuck you. And for 3 years I cried and I fought God with everything that I had, until the day came where I was like, I need to get out of this relationship, whatever. My point being, though, is that for 3 years that was basically conflict avoidance, not wanting to see the truth, not wanting to tackle things head on, you know? Wouldn't have made it any better, but I see it as avoiding what I knew to be true. And then when spirit was like, hello, and I was like, no, fuck you, you're wrong. Yeah. Yeah, so not wanting to feel uncomfortable. Okay. And the thing is, because we're the only ones responsible for our lives, we're the only one who can be responsible for our choices. And I've said this before in regards to people that, people are waiting on to come forward. But it's like, in the rest of our life, when you choose to not make a decision, or again, if you avoid things, decisions get made for you. Those people that are waiting for a conversation, that are now pissed, they're going to make a decision for you. And now you have more decisions to make, because now you have consequences to not making a decision. Yeah, 7 of Wands. Exactly. Oh, the 2 sevens together. So we have 2 cards that say movement, 7 of coins to the 7 of Wands. Yeah, people get real bitchy, and then you have to defend yourself. Okay. 6, this third eye chakra. 2 came out. Oh yeah, third eye chakra, just what I was saying. God gives you, we're going to pretend the old MP Emperor here. This is God giving you the information through your third eye. You're seeing, the information's there. The information is always there. It's never not in front of us. Every second of the day, the answers are always right here. It's literally about the lens. Do you want to see it or do you not want to see it? It's never far away. It's always like right here. And so the 5 of Wands is fighting God and being like, no, you're wrong, my guy. And this eagle is like, come the fuck again? Come the fuck again? I'm fucking wrong? Okay. Yeah, I know. Trust me, I fucking know. Okay, so throat chakra. Nine of Swords. Yeah, the anxiety of speaking your truth. I personally suspect that the fear of speaking truth really stems from probably a lot of childhood trauma, to be honest. As someone raised by an overt histrionic NPD, and I was pretty vocal, and there was always consequences to that. And my stepdad was a pretty fucking scary guy, to be honest. So, on one hand, this is where I'm like, on one hand, I can be conflict avoidant, but on one hand, there's a part of me that is just like, I fucking hate bullies. Uh, if the truth has to be spoken, I always will. Oh, I see. Spirit just showed me through my own example of just like how I'm good at protecting other people, but I'm not good at protecting myself. If I was sitting in here right now and someone broke in, I could probably go toe to toe, but to be honest, my first instinct would be to just like run. But if I was sitting in here with my son or just random people and that person was going to hurt them, I would annihilate them. I don't know what the switch is. It's always been like this. Because when I was a kid, people always wanted to kick my ass. I became a really good talker, but I'm a sprinter. I'm not good for long distance. But man, I could fucking book it out of there because I don't like getting hit. That's terrible. And nor do I want to really hit unless I have to. Unless, yeah, if you're fucking with animals, women, children, and old people, I will fucking... It's like the Buddhist is gone. Mind you, I've never had to go there, but I absolutely know 100%. It's a fact. It's a fact. It is a fact. It's a fact. But yeah, when it comes to protecting myself or speaking my truth, I can speak the truth even if it's unpopular, if it's about the, events or things that are occurring or whatever. But if it's like speaking my truth of like, hey, that impacts me, or like, hey, I need to leave you because this relationship isn't working. So perhaps there's something there. But everyone's different, right? That's where that flashlight, you gotta get in and look around. Because, like, for instance, my sister and I talk about this. We did in the past. Whereas, like, my sister is really good at not being conflict avoidant with her partners. She'll fucking rip their ass all day long. But with strangers, she's a fucking people pleaser. Whereas I don't give a fuck with strangers, but I have more conflict avoidance with partners, for sure. At least in the past. Okay. Okay, so let's get to the meat here. Moving on. The Six of Swords in reverse. The Queen of Cups. To the Magician. Okay. I'm just trying to think about the inability to move forward, to leave. Oh, the inability to leave things that you love, people you love. And even this Magician, he kind of has sad eyes. Yeah, he looks like a Pisces. Yeah, this is like, emotionally it's hard. Wait, hold on. Oh yeah, that's what it is if emotionally it's going to be hard, the person would rather stay stuck than and have this low gradation that kind of slowly builds and then maybe peaks because, again, other people get irritated. Okay. I'm going to put the Magician back. I'm not feeling him as much. I'm definitely feeling that Queen. Okay, wait, hold on. You want to be back out there? Okay, you do. Okay. Okay. New beginnings. Well, she's got her freedom toes out. We all know how I feel about the freedom toes. Sandies. Sandies are tapping. Yep. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, well, we got the Page of Cups. Can I have another one on the Page of Cups? The Ten of Cups. Yeah, I guess what it is like... Oh, and the Empress is here. Cool. I guess what we fail to recognize in conflict avoidance is that on the other side of what this conflict is actually really fulfilling things, new beginnings, 10 of Cups, wish fulfillment, total happiness. The Page of Cups is, I'd say, idealistic, creative, a dreamer, like, again, dreaming a new world, dreaming that anything and everything is possible, and knowing that, right? That's the great thing about the pages, just like children and teenagers and in your 20s. It's that where the real magic is because, again, it hasn't been fucking crushed out of you yet. You live in the moment, the Fool energy. You're just kind of leaping and hopping and exploring and being a little bit messy and discovering things and just dreaming of everything that is possible. And you can't be in that energy when, you're fearing the unknown. Now, the other day, when I was doing my own reflection, I was thinking about, Spirit was having me think about, I had said something in a reading about appetite for things. And I've talked about the honey badger, but Spirit was had me think about appetite for pain. And how, just like the honey badger, why the honey badger is so fucking fierce and just crazy, to be honest, is because it had to go through a series of, for instance, the honey badger can eat the world's most poisonous snakes and it doesn't kill it. But that's because clearly in its evolution, it had to eat a bunch of snakes and get poisoned to develop the intolerance down the line. So kind of, again, devouring the poison and transmuting it. But it took a bit of time. But going back to, again, getting a taste for, we see that in animals. Once an animal gets a taste for blood, it's kind of over. And I was thinking about that in regards to pain. For those of us, I think, that have only known a lot of pain, it would make sense that in a lot of ways, you get an appetite for it. So, if the only flavors you know how to recognize are pain, perhaps, and this is really just, it was for me, but maybe perhaps this can apply to you. But I was I wonder now if perhaps I'm creating from a space of my flavor palette, which is just a lot of terrible things. Sometimes you have to ask yourself, do I actually like good feelings? I don't know. I spend a lot of time thinking about this. I've been thinking about it for literally, I feel like most of my life, to try to make sense of a mystery, which is my life. And my life is bananagrams. My life is the type of life that makes for a great movie. Everyone my whole life has said, man, your life is wild and vastly interesting, but I'm glad it's not my life. Touche. Now, mind you, I wouldn't trade myself for anything in the world, but I will acknowledge that this life has been a bit much for even myself. And I don't really know what to do with it, other than to kind of keep asking questions in hopes. I feel like life is in a giant escape room. So I feel like I've just been in this escape room, this particular one, this new puzzle, and I don't really know how to get out, other than to ask a lot of questions and keep trying new things, and not lose my mind in the process. I feel like there's going to be some kind of, something happens today. Like I said, today's the kind of day where it kind of initially feels terrible. I'm not going to lie. I woke up at 4:30 in the morning to a text where I was like, oh man alive. But if I am to be honest, it's put a bit of a fire in my own butt to be like, okay, all the new things that we've been trying, it's not working. So we got to go back to the drawing board. We got to come up with a new plan. We got to keep trying. I guess if that's anything I can demonstrate is like, yeah, my life, it's a bit interesting, but I get up every day and I keep trying. I'm not even trying. I just get up and I do my best. And sometimes my best is not everyone else's best. But you just gotta work with what you got. And sometimes the lesson is the days that I didn't strive for more, there's consequences. Yeah. Interesting. Normally we add up numbers in the tarot world, but Spirit was having me 11 minus 8. Balance minus strength equals the 3 of cups. Wait, balance? Balance? Okay, there's something here. Balance, which is kind of like temperance, or it is temperance, minus strength equals celebration. And what Spirit is showing me, hold on, let's see if I can articulate this. Again, it's kind of a weird feeling vision. And he did have what looked like a big fucking wound on his chest, which turned out to just be chocolate. Okay, hold on. There's something here about balance and temperance, like, cause see how he's ethereal? Like, I feel like he's light. He's up in the clouds, he has wings. He feels light and lithe. Even the instruments, the tools, they're floating. There's no weight. There's no strength involved to hold it up. So it's like kind of true mastery. It's like there's stages. It's like on one hand, one feels as though they need this like power to, but true balance is like, okay, hold on. How do I say it? How do I don't know. They're just showing me it's like 11 minus 8, like taking away the need to be strong and powerful to have this gentle equilibrium, to be tempered. Even though one would think it does take strength and power, and technically it does, but they're showing it's like if you can remove that next step, it's like rock climbing. Jesus Christ. It's like rock climbing. There's different gradations. So you start off small. So in the beginning, you have a different route, and yeah. But if you want to get to the hard one, it's like skipping the step of power and strength. If you remove that, it somehow gives you like angel wings. This angelic balance. Does that make any sense? Sometimes I don't know how to describe it. It's like a seeing feeling. Oh yeah, trying to articulate. Okay. Oh. You don't need to be powerful to be balanced. That's the message. Yeah, it doesn't actually require brute strength. You don't need to be powerful. You don't need to wait to be empowered to be balanced. Going back to that third eye. Okay, what do you want to tell me about this? Power balance. Can I get a card for power and then a card for Page of Coins? Going back to this page energy. Okay, for balance, the 9 of Coins. Yeah, wish fulfillment. Because also the 9 of Coins minus a Page of Coins, which would be like 1, would be the 8 of Coins, which is mastery. And we're seeing that it's mastery versus power. I think people mistake being powerful. Oh, take charge. I'm, again, more masculine. I'm going to go out into the world and be powerful. But that's not mastery. If you need to summon up the courage, that's not mastery. You have to work through that of why you feel like you need to be like a big lion to roar instead of to speak quietly. And I think that's where people are getting into their conflict avoidance, is that they feel like they need to muster and to step into this powerful, very masculine energy to speak the truth and to annihilate or to... But it's like, no, there's a softer way, taking the third eye, seeing beyond, seeing what the situation calls for, what's required, and to speak it softly. Like, yeah, like the weight of a feather. There's something about this weightlessness, being soft. Okay. All right, well, and then once you get to that, yeah, you're celebrating. Celebration station. Yeah, look at all those orbs. See, that's the spirit team. Finally be like, oh my God. Yeah, after you've been fighting with God and that eagle, the eagle's like, say the fuck what, my guy? Oh yeah, here we go. See, we're rejoicing because you get into that and then you're in the 2 of Cups, King of Coins. Yeah, Ace of Cups. Huh. I feel like there's more that wants to be said. Like, Kimmy, what do we have to say about this? What can the collective know right now? God, Grandma, especially, Mother Mary. Oh, we need Grandma, the GMMs, Grandma, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene. It's like G4M, yeah. Kairos, the sword, exactly, the sword of truth. And the shapeshifter, the kiss. Is it the kiss that I want? God, I don't want to sound like I know what I'm talking about, because I don't, but I'm not really feeling Kairos or the shapeshifter. Eros. Kairos. Okay. I should just learn to trust God all the time, but I don't, because I'm human. Yeah, and I think my little britches get a little bit too big sometimes. Oh, which leads me to trouble, doesn't it? Oh boy. Oh, it's chaotic. But yeah. All I know is that today, I gotta really talk to my spirit team to be like, we really gotta, and by we, I mean me. My spirit team's doing fine. I'm the one down here struggling. Alright, sword. Well, what I can say is this. I don't know if this feels nice for anyone. I know I've mentioned this before, but honestly, in so many ways, I didn't know it was possible to kamikaze, crash dive, nosedive, have everything be the worst it could ever possibly be. Well, no. I've learned anything. You don't ever want to jinx the universe. It can always get worse, so we're not going to go into that realm. I don't need any more worse added. But learning how to be okay with feeling desperately uncomfortable. Again, everything just maxed out on all the volumes. All the flavors of not the funnest flavors. But, as seen, I managed to get up every day and to not be a total cunt in the world and to look at self and to feel the feelings. And I can tell you right now, 4 years ago, I wasn't quite there. It was just the beginning of this hell ride. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm just desensitized to hell at this point. Again, the appetite. Sometimes I kind of worry that now it's been like this for so long. It's all I know. And then if it's all you know, then I think there could be a possibility that sometimes I attract unnecessarily more of this pain flavor. Because it's all I know. Where the fuck is the sword? Sword? Why are we hiding? Hiding the truth. Okay, no, but for real, where are you? Am I crazy? Okay, I can tell you right now, Bonita, I don't need... Oh, there you are, 189. The knife, the blade, the weapon. To use the sword is to decide. Exactly, making a decision. The blade separates one reality from another. The choice is made, and all else falls away. If you find the sword in your grasp, you can no longer hesitate. This weapon requires a clear and decisive mind and a willingness to act. An onlooker may think the sword bearer is hasty and violent, but the most compassionate and responsible gesture is one that is honest, swift, and accurate. Our first encounter with the sword is at birth, when the cord we share with the mother is cut. This moment defines our separation from her and begins our journey of becoming ourselves. We must make these cuts again and again, and if we are to grow. Decisions shape our life, and the sword is an infamous shaper of destiny, cutting through to what is essential. When dark, hasty, backstabbing, a dull and painful blade. Oh my god, she also references Marina Abramovic's Rhythm series. I do. I love Marina Abramovic. Okay. Boundary making, prioritizing, and clarifying are all gestures made possible by the sword. The sword is a metaphor for the pen and the brush, the artist's fierce and graceful tools. Yeah, instead of seeing the sword as a weapon, seeing the sword as a tool, like a paintbrush. It's there to create. It literally is like a paintbrush. You're just cutting away. It's like a pair of scissors. I use scissors all the time in art. X-Acto knives. Because you can add and you can subtract. You can take away and you can... But it's a swiftness, and it's true. If you just have the conversation immediately, it's more compassionate because it's swift, and then that energy can dissipate. It can, things can fall where they may. It's uncomfortable in the moment, but it's like fast and actually better. When you prolong it, it gets worse. And then you start avoiding. Like, it just becomes, yeah, it's really icky. Okay, hold on. Kairos. 219. We have all had the experience of timelessness, of life beyond the ticking of the clock. It may be felt as time standing still, slow motion. Sorry, I'm getting part of the message. Okay, sorry. Slow motion or losing track of time on a walk or in a lovely conversation. This is known as mythic time, and it is the territory of Kairos. This card suggests that there is a secondary time continuum that goes beyond any earthly clocks and schedules. Within this non-linear realm, we access divine timing. A single moment ripens with auspiciousness, and our actions change the trajectory of our whole life. Time becomes a living thing that watches over us and tells us precisely when to speak or act. When this card appears, it is all about patience and precision. No clock can guide you. Wait for the rush of inner knowing and not a moment longer. Yeah, the art of timing. Because that is how I ended up ending my relationship. Because I made the decision I was going to end it. I just didn't know how to end it. So I remember saying to God, please present me an opportunity, the window of time, where that conversation can enter. I just need an opening. I don't know how to just walk into the living room and say, hey, you know what? I needed to wait. But I prayed because I was then willing. I was like, I will do this. I just don't know how to do it. So I need a window of opportunity. And God gave it to me. So with conflict avoidance, it's like, all the signs are there. Time is being like, the time is now, ding, ding, ding. But there's this idea of like slowing down time, of like, if you can just not, if you can be a turtle, that time is going to stop because you've stopped. So time is like dragging you. It's like, yeah, it's like pulling, but because we're all connected in the universe, it's like when you move like molasses, it's like everything else in the universe is like moving, but you're holding it back. But at some point, either the cords snap or like, yeah, there's consequences. All right. Yeah, when dark, fighting against time. The word evil comes from the root unripe. Consider that everything has a time of ripeness, when it becomes a nourishing fruit sweet to the lips. Yeah, when you don't act in the moment, things rot. And as we all know, it takes one fruit or vegetable in with others to make everything rot. So when you're not acting decisively, you're like a big rotten apple, to be honest. So that everything that's getting touched is like rotting. Inaction creates stagnation, which is like rotty biscotti. Okay. Shapeshifter. $91. The trickster, the elusive, the formless. The shapeshifter has a love of theater, games, and trickery. This is that energy that one can play with in the mind to convince itself not to act. Games and trickery, that's what's standing out. You're playing games and tricking yourself into thinking that if you don't take decisive action, if you don't have the conversation, if you don't address it head on, that somehow everything is going to work out. But like, it says, its energy appears as one thing only to reveal a more complex story below the surface. The shapeshifter is within all of us to some degree. It is the side of ourselves that is slippery, non-committal, and experimental, and longs to dismiss the rules. We need its energy to adapt to the ever-changing landscape of our existence. When the shapeshifter card appears, it's important to imagine you are looking at life through a kaleidoscope rather than a single focused lens. At any moment, the scene may shift, revealing a more enchanting vision than you imagined. Be wary, though, as the allure of the kaleidoscope can leave you exhausted and yearning for solid ground. Dancing long-term with the shapeshifter requires a central pillar of integrity that links us back to our center. Here we go. When dark, charlatan, people-pleasing, and trickery. Going back to the people-pleasing. Yep. Going back to the family dynamic. Parent pleasers become people pleasers. To be a parent pleaser, usually it's because, at minimum, you have really fucking toxic parents who are just fucking bags of shit. Worst case scenario, you have really abusive caretakers that also lead to people pleasing. Yeah, the shapeshifter is related to the mask. If these cards come up in another reading, if so, okay. Basically, keywords here, though. You're dealing in the realm of heavy theater, illusion, possible deception. Yeah, it's that self-deception, convincing yourself, I have more time. I will just put this off for another thing. I will avoid this person. I will, or I'll be manipulative. I'll paint it a different way. I'll do this and that and the other. Okay. $209. Love as desire, eroticism, sensuality. Okay. Though Eros can be depicted as unbridled sexuality and eroticism, a more contemplative understanding of this archetypal energy leads us to the root of desire itself. What do we long for? Why are we awakened by love? What makes us hesitate in the face of intimacy? Eros reconnects us with the primal longing to merge with another human being, nature, music, art, plants, food, or anything that we perceive we are separate from. Eros allows us to momentarily unite. Our heart embraces otherness, and in doing so, we further understand our own. Our life force awakens. This card reveals an inevitable initiation into love's labyrinth. You may find yourself swirling in a new territory of desire and sensuality. Explore the labyrinth with a curious and honest heart, and remember, though the way is circuitous, you are always being led toward its center. What does this have to do with conflict avoidance? Well, conflict avoidance is intimacy. Because we think of intimacy as things like being raw, authentic, and loving and passionate and naked and tender and vulnerable. But is there also nothing more vulnerable than doing a conflict dance with someone that you love, like, or respect? That tension of that intimacy of being, I love you enough to be honest with you. I'm not sure how this is going to land, though. That's intimacy. So, conflict avoidance has a lot to do with intimacy. So, sorry guys, I'm also just thinking, okay, the sustainer. This is going to be a long reading, so I'm going to just read this and cut it short, but it's food for thought, right? The sustainer. 109. The sustainer, the second archetype in the trio of existence, works behind the scenes, tending to the tasks of life. They cultivate gardens, pay bills, keep the meals warm, and the mouse sweetly fed. The sustainer is at peace in the process of life. Oh, yes. Here we go. I'm seeing, yeah. The sustainer is at peace in the process of life, knowing there is no start or finish to humble yet meaningful tasks. They have a natural inclination to nourish others, to archive, to preserve Earth's resources, to consider environmental impact, to see their role in the divine cycle of life. It's common for the sustainer to become overworked, leading to resentment. Their tasks aren't glamorous, and therefore the sustainer rarely receives the credit or attention. The sustainer longs to hold things in place so badly, especially relationships, that they resist necessary change. Take time with this archetype. It is within us all and needs our love. Exactly. It's the longing to hold things into place. Yeah, resist the necessary change. Because it's also assuming that the change isn't going to be the 10 of Cups. But really, no matter the outcome of conflict, or whatever the conflict is, it will always lead to the 10 of Cups because, A, you're speaking your truth. So by speaking your truth, there's always going to be an immediate, and also because you're showing up for yourself. And that part of yourself, you're always putting a deposit in. When you speak up for yourself, when you handle business for yourself, that's how you build trust with self. So part of conflict avoidance too is not trusting self. And trusting self is another form of intimacy. Wow. Food for thought, my peeps. I will be sitting with this today myself, because today is a day of sweeping changes. Yeah. This is brilliant. This is, again, no one's pointing out any slivers and eyes. I've got a big beam. It's not anything I'm not aware of, but again, it's like the layers of understanding. There are different ways of holding it to be like, ah, yes. Intimacy. Into me I see. Yeah, into me I see. Okay, well this is a very long reading, so I'm going to let it go for now. We might come back and revisit some of these topics, because this is a good one. Alright, collective. It's a bit of a cloudy day here, so if there's storms in your heart, if you're afraid of conflict today, or of having hard conversations, or even good conversations, of breaking up with people or asking people out, of telling people how they've impacted you, or setting boundaries, or being honest to someone about something that doesn't feel like it would feel that great, it's okay. Because on the other side, what we've seen is new beginnings. It's this energy. Okay, well, stay blessed, stay golden. You got this, okay?